think it's been like the biggest challenge so far?
I mean, I think it's been really hard to meet people.
Yeah.
And to like do it in a natural feeling way that's not presumptive or assumptive. I don't know the difference between those words, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I think yesterday was like getting so many no's from people. It's really hard. But I'm glad it happened as like a counter to what seems like a lot of like serendipitous lucky yeses.
Yeah. I mean, we had so many yeses that it started to feel like, wow, people really just want to participate.
Yeah.
It didn't even feel that lucky.
Yeah.
At a certain point. But I think that, like, for me, it's been really hard to think of ways and strategies to, like, have a meaningful introduction to it with people that feels, like, respectful.
Yeah, and how do you introduce the project? In what way do you describe it, and how does that change based on who you're talking to?
And across the project. Like, I feel like our description of the project has shifted over time.
Yeah, totally. And the way, I mean, the project has shifted and how we understand it. And what it means as far as what we're trying to learn from it.
Yeah. But I think it really has been about trying to learn about Santa Fe and to expand what our community here looks like.
Yeah.
And to expand how we think about what a community is in a place too.
Yeah. Let's see if the camera falls. Does it?
Oh, nice turning.
Continue on West Orient.
Cattle guard. Oh. Dirt devil.
Where?
See it?
Oh my god. That's a common thing?
Oh yeah.
So we heard that you're into wrestling.
Yeah, I've been wrestling since I was 6 years old. It's a tough sport. It really is. It's a lot of abuse on your body overall, but once you get into it, it's kind of a hard sport to give up.
What? How did you get into it?
I sucked at basketball.
Oh.
I wasn't good at basketball. I heard about the wrestling team, so I went out and did that. And then a few years later, I found out my dad used wrestling.
And you're a guide also.
Yeah, I guide for the real life ones.
What's that like?
It's great. We get to meet a lot of people from different parts of the world. We get to fish, of course, be outside. Beats sitting in an office all day, that's for sure. So
yeah.
It's great. It's a good opportunity for me and kids like Lucas, just because we're so young and people kind of just look at us funny usually. But I don't know. I think we do a good job.
And then what kind of store is it?
It's mostly 22 karat gold, really high-end gemstones. My mom makes most of the jewelry. Yeah.
Wow.
It didn't really require any jewelry work. It's I'm really into like ancient materials, so this is glass from Afghanistan from like 2000 BC.
Whoa.
That they made beads out of. Which I'm just fascinated by like archaeological artifacts, so I put it with all these other like flashier kind of stones, little sapphires and Peruvian opals and gold beads.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up in New Mexico for you?
Had a bunch of dreams. I did a lot of what I dreamt of doing, because like back in the day, I don't know, you know, as a kid they used to have the National Geographic magazines like pretty much everywhere. So everywhere we went, I used to flip through them and I would see people like kayaking, rafting, hiking, climbing. And I was like, man, I want to do that one day, and I don't know, kind of just set myself up to actually do that. Like when I wanted to become a snowboard instructor, well, I've always wanted to snowboard, and I was trying to figure out a way I could freaking be a snowboard instructor, or actually snowboard while freaking working, and I figured it out. You can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't freaking, like, I mean, you can only go snowboarding at least like once or 2 times a month while having the normal job, you know? So I was
Right.
like trying to figure something out, saving money. So doing all the calculations, I was like, there's no way I can have fun. So then I was like, man, I just gotta get out of here, you know? So I moved up to Pagosa and then started working there and became a snowboard instructor. And I was snowboarding every day after that. Yeah, even though my...
I have wanted to be a stylist since I was in second grade. Yeah.
Really? What made you, like, back then? What was it?
Well, I learned how to do my first grade whenever I was 5 years old. My grandma taught me. And it was fishtail braid.
You learned how to do that when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Amazing.
So Breakthrough is a college prep program for students who are low income, most of whom are going to be the first in their families to go to college. And it's a 6-year program. So students start with us when they are in the summer following their 6th grade year. That's the only time they can apply is their 6th grade year. Then they're with us until they graduate high school. But when students are in middle school, they are here for a 6-week summer program that is taught by college and high school students. So it's like an academic summer camp. There's a lot of cheering and there's also academic classes and a lot of songs and games, and it's the whole point of it is that our students love to learn, and so we are here to make a rigorous and fun education environment.
Vine a este país aproximadamente hace 1.5 a 2 meses.
¿Y de dónde vienes?
De Guatemala.
¿Y qué cosas has hecho en Santa Fe como para divertirse o relajar?
Ok, yo en mi país juego fútbol.
Ajá.
Entonces me encanta el fútbol. Entonces es un deporte que yo me he adaptado, me gusta, y entonces por lo mismo acá ahorita casi no tengo muchos amigos porque acabo de llegar, pero pues con mis familiares hemos salido y así, pues otras personas me han visto que yo he jugado, y eso es ahorita lo que me he enfocado, pues cada fin de semana salgo a jugar. Sí, salgo a jugar, pues a veces con mis primos o hermanos, fines de semana que descansan, pues salimos a correr. Por eso digo que es muy bonito los parques, porque tiene un ambiente bien tranquilo donde tú puedes salir a cualquier hora y no tienes problema.
How old is a cat like that?
He's under 5 weeks.
Sometimes they only have them on the front.
Oh, on the front? Yeah, he got really lucky. He'd be a good swimmer.
Because we are a very successful shelter with a very high live release rate, we never euthanize for space. We only euthanize for reasons of veterinarian good, which is to say terminal illness, or if cats would never get euthanized for behavior. If a dog represents kind of a general liability to society at large, meaning it could bite anybody at any moment unpredictably. Unfortunately, those are still situations in which any shelter probably has to euthanize. I graduated, like most millennials or people under 30, graduated college. I graduated in 2010 at the height of the recession. Did well in school and did all the networking and everything, but there were really, really few jobs. And so I know what it's like to fall on hard times financially. And just because that happened doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to have a pet.
Yeah.
Do you want to go down to Diablo Canyon and see if there's anyone shooting guns there?
We're at Linson's Design Source. This is a fabric store owned by my aunt, and it's where I work right now, going through school.
Nice. And what are you in school for?
I'm going to school for early childhood.
Oh.
Cool.
So I plan to be an early childhood teacher. One day I want to actually open up my own early childhood center, and I'd love to have it Christian-based.
How has growing up in Santa Fe been? I mean, what do you think?
It's definitely been, my dad did Spanish market when I was little. He retired several years back from it, and I got a lot of artistic culture from it, and my artistic hand came very naturally because I was surrounded by it a lot.
What's your favorite weekend activity here?
Oh my gosh. I think I'm a terrible person to ask because I'm just super nerdy.
That's great.
But
Yeah, from that perspective,
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to do on the weekend?
Well, lately I've been going to Go Club at St. John's and playing Go, which is this kind of weird. It's like this super old Chinese-Japanese game with black and white stones.
I think Santa Fe is a place of like extremes and kind of contradictions. On the one hand, it's probably the chillest place I've ever lived in and I will ever live in. And then on the other hand, it's also, it can be cruel, you know, so far as the economy is just so focused on this tourism that is so unreliable, and it's so hard to be a college graduate here, in a way, because, you know, I've been looking for another job, but I'm not able to find one because it's, you know, because the economy is so hard. So it's a place of contrasts like that. Or, you know, a place of contrast where on the one side of town you have like outrageous wealth, and on the other side of town you have outrageous poverty.
Favorite part, I'm gonna say, is being here downtown in this district, it's Fire Station 1. And because we have such a diverse crowd down here with all the tourists and different kinds of people and all these events that are thrown and anything that goes on down here, we get to help different kinds of people, not just a certain Santa Fe, if you will. So people from all over the place are usually here downtown, and we get to help them also, including the Santa Fe residents. So I really like that.
Wow. He's like, how long does it take to like get prepared to drive this?
You can't promote until you have at least 4 years in the fire department, and then you have to take a class.
Do you think kids your age in Santa Fe are political?
I feel so like they kind of have started to be, but I feel that back in the day, like we didn't care as much, and I think that with the new president, people have decided to become more aware, just so that people don't treat each other badly.
And what have you been doing with Alicia?
With Alicia, I've been working on this project called Creativity for Peace, and it's where we help girls from Israel and Palestine coexist and kind of hear each other's sides and perspectives so that they can have a better understanding of each other.
So I think this election is definitely what caused me to be a lot more political.
Mm-hmm. Were you disappointed that you couldn't vote?
Yes and no. I have very interesting political views, and I think if people under the age of 18 could have voted, it definitely could have had a different outcome with the election, but you never know.
Yeah.
I guess I knew New Mexico would have turned out a blue state regardless of what happened, so it wouldn't have changed anything. But you have like political socialization in a lot of these other countries, a lot of these other states, I mean, and that still would have caused these states to be red states. So I don't think the occurrence, like I don't think my being able to vote or like other youths being able to vote would have changed a lot, unfortunately.
Rachel, what about you? Like, when did you start getting political?
I think also Model UN, definitely. Yeah, that was a really big awakening for me, just like, because, you know, we were 12, I think, when we both started, so just, you know, as a little kid, it's like you don't recognize these things that are happening in the world other than like, you know, your parents' political discussions in the car or stuff like that. But yeah, just understanding what was happening in the world made a really big difference for me, and I thought it was really interesting. So yeah, that was probably when I really got into politics. And as to whether or not I would want to vote in this past election, it's hard to say because I was really frustrated, kind of standing there and feeling really helpless and watching all these things that I was really upset about, all this this divisionism and really hateful, petty stuff that happened in the election. Like, I don't think that's how politics is supposed to be, so that was really hard to watch. That really sucked.
What's your favorite thing about Santa Fe?
Santa Fe in general, it's my home. I've said it, I'd start with that. Looking around the city,
I've gone to multiple cities, places, big cities. You can't see the stars like you can out in Santa Fe.
Yeah.
City lights everywhere. Here, you can look up, see the stars. It's a really calming place, and if you look around everywhere, it's beautiful.
And what do you think? Like, what do you think baseball means for like a town like Santa Fe?
I think it's good that this independent organization comes to small towns because it kind of brings the community together. You develop a fan base. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of fans that are here night in and night out, and they really support us. So I think it's really good for the community for them to be able to enjoy something like this, every night for a couple months. Yeah.
What's your favorite part of being like so close with horses?
I like to know them, you know your pets, and it's also fun to ride them, obviously. But it's fun to just sit here and bond with them, and because I know she's not gonna do anything bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of trust involved, huh?
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of trust. You have to trust your trainer. You have to trust the horse. You have to trust yourself.
How do you build trust with the horse?
You just have to spend time with them.
Do you think the horse has to trust you?
Yes, they definitely do. Because you can see some of those abused horses, like a dog or a cat, that won't get near you.
Do you think of this as like a cool opportunity to bond with your mom?
Yeah, I really like the mom and me doing it. And I wouldn't be riding if she didn't ride. So I really enjoy us doing it together.
So, like, what's it like growing up in Santa Fe?
It's really rough in your adolescence stage. Like if you're here while you're still 17, 18, it's really rough because there's just not that much to do.
Yeah.
But I feel like that kind of makes you build your friendship stronger because it's kind of like it doesn't really matter what you're doing as long as you're with someone fun. It's gonna make it fun. Maybe I should go back to school, get my administrative license, be a principal. I've been thinking I feel like I could run a school a way that'll make a significant difference and show you can have fun with these kids and make a difference in their life and still learn. I got really interested in the sugar tax and stuff like that this spring, and it's just been something that's kind of been interesting to me, but the more that I think about it, it's unfortunate how you have to get funding and stuff like that to be a politician.
And do you define yourself as an artist?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It's so emo. For a while, my favorite part about theater was getting a chance to escape and be someone else. So there was that, and now it's sort of grown into it's kind of a fun thing to do. The people are amazing. You can enter these whole other worlds.
And what do you think are some of the biggest challenges for young people in Santa Fe?
Finding stuff to do.
Mm-hmm.
There should be more stuff for teenagers to do here.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
What would be your ideal thing that Santa Fe doesn't have that it should have for teenagers?
I don't know. Meow Wolf kind of fulfilled that for me. It just needs to be cheaper.
The first day of rehearsal and said, you have to come. So I was like, okay, fine. I showed up in full costume. This is my summer hat. I have a winter hat that's a leather top hat that I love.
Wow.
But I started this back at the beginning of high school. My dad got me this leather top hat as a birthday present, and he said, you'll never wear it. 5 years later, I have worn it almost every day. I wear it all the time. All of the pictures, I am wearing that hat, and I love it to pieces. But the thing is, you can't wear a really cool steampunk hat like that with just jeans and a t-shirt, so the outfits just sort of exploded from there, and before I knew what was happening, I owned exactly one t-shirt that was for working out in.
First and foremost, right now, I am a student of this land herself and of a whole variety of farmers and mentors and cultural stewards all around this region, around Santa Fe and northern New Mexico, who have been, working for decades and generations to keep this place alive and growing. So right now I'm first and most a student of farming and of seeds, and I'm still learning. That's why I say I'm a student and I'm learning, and I don't want to misstep, and I want to know how to do it right. Because yes, each one of these has a story that span back thousands of years across borders, across families, across communities. So I'm doing my best.
Honestly, I loved it. For me, Santa Fe is an incredible bubble of pristine beauty. Okay, this is the one problem with Santa Fe, is honestly, unless you're going hiking or doing art at your house with your friends, there's not really that much to do. So the things that I've been a part of have been very related to school or just things that I do with my friends. I want to be more involved in like environmental groups, and I want to do something that's somehow making a difference in these times.
What sort of stuff do you do outside of the Fuego when in the off season?
I do Olympic weightlifting, so I am a competitive weightlifter here in Santa Fe. I've won New Mexico state championships 3 times now. I teach Olympic weightlifting at Inner Strength and Fitness.
How did you get involved in that?
I went to Inner Strength and Fitness to help fix my knee, which was busted, and the coach there just completely changed my life.
What do you like about weightlifting?
I like that it doesn't matter what size you are, how old you are, it just matters what's on the bar and what you can do.
The summer before my freshman year, I kind of really got into it, and so I applied to be a teen journalist here. I tend to do stories that are more kind of fun with a little bit of a serious side, but some of them are really creative, some of them are really funny. Some of my favorites, I did a story on Christmas villains and how villains have actually been really important in Christmas stories around the world. I did a story on the Founding Fathers and just totally random facts that people didn't really know about them. And actually, my most recent, my favorite story was a story I did on World Wildlife Day, which I talked about a lot about how species are really endangered and kind of different things that people are doing to kind of work with that.
Wow. Usually a lot of the times they're brought to me, or I do a lot of, like, I wouldn't say it's exotic vet work, but I do a lot of house calls and visits for exotic animals and stuff at the Santa Fe Animal Hospital. Wow. And so for me, a lot of the times, I'll go out to somebody's house, and whether they've caught something that they need help with, whether they want me to, pre-diagnose like a bearded dragon or something like that with a muscular disease, whether it's feeding their animal. It's just kind of whatever they have. And a lot of times people don't really take care of their animals as well as they should. So they either become mine or they get rehomed after I've taken care of them.
And if you could change one thing about Santa Fe, what would it be?
I think it would be how Santa Fe likes to stay very Santa Fe, likes to stay within itself. Not really mingle around, which is okay, but I think it's trying so hard to keep this image that's like we know what Santa Fe is. No matter what, it's very small. Everybody knows deep down like the different parts of it, different aspects and components. We can be okay with it.
Yeah.
Act natural.
Yeah. Why did you decide to stay in Santa Fe after you graduated?
I guess because I had felt the whole time I was at school that I didn't have a community of musicians or of creative people that I could work with. And then in my senior year, I started to make more connections with people who were a couple of grades lower than me, and who had similar goals and kind of ideas about music and what they wanted to do with music as I did. And so it felt like the kind of right thing to do to stick around and try to help facilitate or just work with those people.
So we come to Santa Fe to bring out our tradition, and pretty much just being humble to everybody, especially what's going on in the world now, a lot of crisis and stuff. But, the songs pretty much to heal everybody and to give them to uplift their spirits and whatever they're feeling. They may have a bad day or whatever problems they have. Just to push them a little to see the brighter things of life.
My favorite part is singing, because when we sing, if you can really feel it in your heart, you give blessings to people so they can enjoy it, stay safe. The prayers go to the people who listen to our music. So it's a good feeling to be a leader as young people, because these kids now, they don't really see themselves, like native youth don't see themselves as young leaders, but when you have good grandparents who teach you things and your ways and stuff like that, it makes yourself feel good, and knowing one day you'll be a leader for your people to follow. You'll know the ways and everything, and the people can come to you as their leader and learn from you, the old ways. So that's what's amazing about being a leader.
It's really inspiring to hear, and it's thank you so much for sharing.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening.
I mean, I think it's like my generation starting to see like, oh, if we want to keep this town like, you know, moving forward, it has to be us. Like, you know, eventually, like, you know, yeah, our parents, our grandparents, they had their time, they did okay. Now it's our time to do it up and take this a whole nother step.